Right. I am deeply saddened, and any human being with a beating heart should be, that our people are turned into beggars 64 years after our independence, lining up to get grains from our politicians through the churches or whichever avenue they choose to give. This is a very rich and endowed country, and this is where we have descended. I'm truly saddened. My thought and prayers go to the families of the lost ones. But we shouldn't be seeing what we are seeing. The good book said, when the righteous are in power, the people rejoice. But when the wicked rule, the people groan. Millions of Nigerians today are groaning. They're hungry in this our land of plenty. I have been screaming this all across the land for the past 9-10 months here with some graphics that there is hunger in the land. Millions of Nigerians, predominantly women and children, go to bed hungry with no certainty of having anything to eat when they wake up. In this our land of plenty. And you come to Abuja, what do you see our politicians doing? Living it up. Look at the budget. All they're interested in is their creature comfort. Nigeria, this, the land I grew up in, the land that gave me all I got. We are now reduced to beggars by no less people than our leaders. This hunger is self-imposed. In a country that is not officially at war, in a country that we don't have famine, the rains have not failed. We have beautiful rain, but common rice is out of reach of the common man. When this government came to power, a bag of 50 kilos of rice was 8,500, now is hitting 90,000. What is the minimum wage? I tell you, 90% of Nigerian households cannot buy a bag of rice. So the government, from the state to the federal, they are weaponizing hunger. And you see, I go to Katsina, what do I see? I see a bag of rice with the face of the president, and I feel insulted. It's just like you see, would you see the face of Guterres, the Secretary General of the United Nations, on a bag of rice that they are giving, UN is given to refugees? These politicians are treating all of us, all Nigerians, as conquered people. And they are throwing grains at us.
Professor,
while they are living it up.
Professor, you laid the background for this conversation, looking at the socioeconomic and the political process we've come so far. But with the benefit of hindsight, would you think that if anyone is going to organize a palliative distribution in Nigeria, looking at what happened years and years ago, that certain measures should be in place and not just invite people and give them just one location, that anyone should expect that people are going to rush in, women, children, as you can see in those images. Some of them are pregnant women with bags of rice on their head, heavy with pregnancy. So I'm just imagining what could happen. So is there a way in which charity organizations, government agencies, MDAs, we've seen some corporate organizations on television, if you watch it on Arise, banks and other institutions distribute these same palliatives in a way that does not cause stampede nor death.
Right. For us to even accept this is acceptable is not acceptable, to be honest. To give the government an idea, oh, this is how you should distribute palliatives, for goodness sake. For goodness sake, we are still giving our people grains.
You find that
this is symptomatic of the problem.
You found that insulting.
We are treating the symptoms. No, absolutely, absolutely. Look, I'm a doctor. You do not treat symptoms. You treat the disease. What we are seeing and what we just saw, this death stampede from distributing palliatives, can happen anywhere in this country. A symptom. Let's treat the disease. This is symptomatic of a bigger problem, a broken economy, hyperinflation, unemployment, and corruption in government. We do not treat the main problem, we're just treating symptoms and just distributing grains. For goodness sake, Nigeria, that we go around the world, that the president goes around the world, that we are the giants of Africa, we have GDP, we want a $1 trillion economy. Our people are being treated like beggars, lining up, and we're giving them grains like you see in the Sudan or Afghanistan or Yemen. The world is watching. This is not good. This is symptomatic of the injustice in this country. This is symptomatic of the injustice in this country, where we are giving our people rights 64 years after independence, when our leaders here in Abuja are living it up, when our governors are buying SUVs. There is hunger all over. There is hunger in the land. I've been screaming this. Government should stop everything. Mr. President, you are building a 15.6 trillion highway. You bought a plane of 150 billion. You bought a yacht of how many billions? You are buying SUVs all over the place. Your people are dying of hunger. And they're being killed in stampede to get rice. For goodness sake. We are not going to accept that. This is not acceptable, and we are not going to give the government or anybody any ways to, oh, this is how you should distribute this. No, this is not acceptable. It's not.
Yes, it is. When we look at...
And I saw the front page, right, and I saw the front page today of leadership, that security agents are going to supervise distribution of palliatives. For goodness sake. Is that how low our military or how security agencies have descended to? They are going to be guarding how rice is going to be distributed when the soldier or the policeman cannot buy rice for his family. So we are accepting this. We should not accept this. We shouldn't.
Yes, Professor Usman Yusuf. However, we need to have a system of emergency response. We need to be more organized in the way we do things so that we can respond quickly and effectively. I'm sure you can see sometimes when we have buildings collapse, for example, even difficult for firefighters and other government agencies to reach those who need it because of the way the streets, the streets, the whatever, our communities are built, even urban centers. So what do you think we can do moving forward? Now we've got tragedy on our hands. We need to improve very quickly so that in 2025, moving forward, we can really say we are on a path of sustainable development, sustainable community, urban centers, people-oriented growth and development. Give me your thought, Professor Usman.
No. My thought is it is common sense. You have our young children, they go to football stadia for games. Crowd control all over the world is known to be a serious issue that must be taken seriously.
Yes.
And no organization should be allowed to bring crowd without ways of controlling that crowd. It's common sense. It's as simple as that. You do not assemble a huge crowd without finding ways to protect how to control that crowd. So for us to even say that the government 2025, no, we don't want to see this nonsense in 2025. We don't want to have to be distributing palliatives to our people in 2025. Mr. President, take care of this economy. The inflation is runaway inflation, 34 point something. Food inflation is 40%. The price of a bag of 50 kilos of rice is over 90,000. What are you doing to bring it down? No, what are you doing to give us palliatives? We are better than this. That's not why we voted you in. Medicines Sans Frontières has been raising alarm of severe malnutrition in this country, particularly in the Northwest. 3 towns in the Northwest, Jibia, Mashi, Mani, 30% of the children are severely malnourished. The story is the same all across this country, from Abia to Zamfara. There is hunger in the land. Mr. President, wake up. Stop everything and feed our people. I've said this 10 months ago, and we are seeing this. And World Health Organization said the severe malnutrition, severe food shortage will worsen from November 2024 to May 2025. We are becoming a country of palliatives. No nation can be run on fumes of palliatives and deception. Rise, 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 rise. Whatever happens, the president will write rise. And what happens that the politicians will hide this rise, or take it to the market, or rebrand it and put their pictures and take it for their campaigns. Now they are bringing it out for Christmas, and they wait in March to bring it out for Ramadan, and then they wait to bring it out for their campaigns. For goodness sake, what kind of leaders do we have? If we as citizens cannot hold them responsible and think it is okay for them to be doing this when our people are getting hungry, they are buying SUVs of 170, 180 million. What kind of human beings are? Mr. President, if your advisors are not telling you the truth, there is hunger in the land. Our people are dying of hunger, predominantly women and children, all across this country. And all this expensive governance you are doing is contributing to this. High corruption, inflation is out of control. Your economic team are not able to control inflation. We cannot continue with palliatives into 2025. What are you doing? You're doing nothing. Look at the budget. Oh, the military takes a big budget. Is the military going to fight hunger in this country? Hunger is a national security emergency. I've said it again and again. Buying Tucano jets or guns or tanks will not fight hunger. And no military, no police can quell the anger of a hungry citizenry. And this is what we are seeing. We've been raising our voices. And I call on our clerics of both faiths. God Almighty has given you the pulpit to speak the truth. The truth is there is hunger in the land. And you should speak the truth because God Almighty will ask you, did you do that? Our leaders do not listen to us. They're just living a life of deception when our people are dying of hunger. Women and children, predominantly women and children, the aged and the poor, they are the ones who bear the brunt of these misguided economic policies, World Bank engineered policies. They are the ones that are bringing us all of this. So for us to say anything else is deceiving ourselves. We're deceiving ourselves. Mr. President, your policies are causing death in this country, and you need to review that. End of story.
Professor Usman Yusuf, many of these victims were reportedly children, and I'm sure you have your thoughts on the demographic characteristics of these victims. We'll talk about women and children. We saw some of them. But again, the short and long-term psychological impacts of the stampede on the victims, or their families, and the wider community, what do you think about that moving forward?
Right. Our people are already traumatized all across this country. Our people are walking like zombies. People are hungry. People do not have anything to eat. Out-of-school children increasing exponentially. Many children that went to tertiary institutions are not going back. If you don't correct the primary problem, we're just going round and round and round and round. It's the failed economic policies of this country, of this president, of this government that is causing this. And it's going to worsen. We've been raising our voices for the president and his advisors to hear because they are not telling him the truth. They are saying all is well. All is not well. Hunger is a national security emergency that this government is taking for granted. All countries in the world, serious democracies know that. That is why the cost of food is very low. That's why there's no tax on food. But here we are. Hunger has been imposed on us by this government. You are overtaxing us. And there is no light at the end of the tunnel for people. And you're asking us to be patient, to be patient, to be patient. I'm a doctor. I write a prescription. Patient is having a problem. You revise that prescription. Mr. President, whatever prescription you got from the World Bank is killing our people. And you need to go to them to tweak this policy. It's not working. It's killing our people. Hyperinflation has eaten into the wealth of our people. People cannot buy food. People are hungry. People are dying. World Health Organization and Medicine Sans Frontières have been raising the alarm, and we have been doing the same. I've been here before with graphics showing the world That there is hunger in the land as we would see in the Sudan, in Darfur, or Yemen, in this our land of plenty, where you see trillions budgeted for this nonsense, that nonsense, this nonsense. We are saying this because the anger of hungry citizenry cannot be contained by any military. Mr. President, wake up, tweak your policies. It's not working. People are dying. It's a time for Christmas, and I am very, very saddened about the loss of these lives, predominantly women and children that we just saw.
Yeah, Professor, when we look at food, they said health is wealth. So when we talk about a healthcare sector as well, we talk about health insurance scheme for pregnant women, for antenatals, to prevent maternal mortality and matter of that nature. These are also as very important as the food that pregnant women and children do eat so that they can be healthy, both mentally, psychologically, and grow into very useful adults that can contribute economically to the country. So do you think we can do a whole lot more, even in the healthcare industry, which is your main field of activity and practice?
Right. I just wrote a piece. The title of the piece is Tinubu Gains and the Daily Realities of Our People. The honest truth is that the healthcare system in Nigeria is crumbling. It's crumbling. People have stopped going to hospital because of the skyrocketing cost of medications. Half of the 70 million adults with hypertension in Nigeria is being reported by the Nigerian Society of Hypertension. They've stopped taking their medications because they cannot afford to. Our doctors are jappering. They're leaving this country for better climes. Hospitals are groaning because of the high cost of electricity tariff. If you go to hospital as a doctor, the first diagnosis, regardless of the admitting diagnosis, is hunger in adults and children. There is hunger. We see the sufferings of our people. That is why we doctors are passionate about this. The politicians don't. They read the summary, executive summary they are given. We see the sufferings of our people every day. People die from diseases that are easily treatable, hypertension and diabetes, because they've stopped taking medications. Forget what propaganda the government comes out with. Propaganda is worthless, is useless. Because if government is doing well, you feel it. If the economy is doing well, you feel it. But propaganda and psychophancy, this is no psychophancy, is no patriotism. But if anything, it is telling the president not to do the right thing.
The healthcare sector,
people are suffering.
The healthcare sector, Professor, in the new year 2025 budget will be much bigger than it's ever been. How do you respond? Is the budget commensurate to what we see? Have we not been seeing exponential rise in security budget? Is our security better? Is our security better? You can bring trillions of dollars if there are no doctors or nurses to take care of patients. They've all left. You go to hospitals. You go to hospitals. For those of us that can talk, pray to God that you don't have any emergencies in this country. We need to sit down and look at the problems. We're in serious, all sectors are collapsing. All sectors. Education, health, the economy, and the root cause is the economy. The president is not listening. He's listening to these economies that are essentially tax collectors. They are more focused on collecting taxes. Taxation does not grow economies. Only production does. People are dying. Whatever policy you have, you must tweak it. People are suffering. The president and his team don't seem to be connected to the daily realities of our people. And that is the daily realities of our people. People are hungry, lined up, and lost their lives for a bag of rice. So I'm going to ask for your thoughts, Professor, and with due respect to your profession, everything you have done and grown up in this country, and give your profession and everything to people and the service of this country. How do you think we can fix food production? Because when you look at the the disaster in Ibadan, 35 children at a school, charity distribution of basic food items in Abuja, in Anambra State. And he said, look, these are some perhaps what folks can grow behind their backyard. They can grow this in schools. I remember public schools in those days, every Wednesday was devoted to agriculture. Every Wednesdays when we were in secondary school in those days, so you come with your cutlasses and hoes to school. On every Wednesdays, schools have farms. Some of them do agriculture, livestock production. Do you think we can still do some of these things so that we can grow food at the basic level of the bottom of the pyramid, so that we don't send our children and women to early graves because we're distributing palliatives at all levels?
I mean, right. So agriculture, you hear the president say, we're going to buy whatever number of tractors, we are going to release seeds, we are going to do this. All this is smoke of deception. The biggest food basket is up here in the north. Our people are not going to the farm because of insecurity. So you don't take care of insecurity, and that's why you see the production of food stuff has come down. Even after they produce, they have no access to their products. They are levied by bandits. If you don't take care of insecurity, if you don't fix the economy, if you don't reduce corruption, if you don't reduce the cost of governance, we will just be deceiving ourselves and going round and round and round and talking big grammar in Abuja. We feel this when we go back home. We see the level of poverty in our people. This is the realities of our people, not the propaganda in Abuja. Oh, GDP is this, that. You cannot lie about the economy. The inflation is going all the way up since this president came. Food inflation is going up. The currency is going up. You can tweak it, whatever you want, but the reality is this. You cannot mess with the economy. You cannot spin the economy, you cannot spin security. These are realities of our people. Our people are hungry. They cannot go to farm.
And I agree.
The little food that is there, people do not have the money to pay.
And I agree that food security is a matter of national security. And I completely agree with you. And I'm thinking how we can bring back some very easy, low-hanging fruit solutions that can help families, communities produce food. Maybe not at a scale in which the bandits or whoever will have an eye on them, but we need to do something out of the box. We need to think outside the box in a manner of speaking. And I'm trying to harvest your thought, Professor, what you think we can do at every level.
Right. Good. And honestly, people have been creative. This is the beauty of Nigerians. Nigerians are creative. People are finding ways to feed themselves. People are trying to do some gardening, but there is so much you can do to make any impact, even to feed your family, especially in big cities like Abuja, where it's all concrete. You don't have much space to do that. Back home in the villages, I mean, I wish I can go back home to my village and get out of this Abuja thing. The price of tomato is 100 naira here, it's 10 naira there, or 1 naira there. Life is in the villages. But for us in the north, the villages have been evacuated because of lack of security. Banditry, this is the 10th year. Boko Haram, this is the 15th year. And then there are a new band of idiots called Lakurawas. So security agencies take care of our security, Mr. President. Bring down inflation, reduce the cost of governance, and reduce corruption in government. Otherwise, we'll just be going round and round and round and round. But it is heartbreaking to see our people lining up and losing their lives because of a bag of rice. In a country of plenty like Nigeria, we go around the world boasting that we are the giants of Africa, and our people are dying from lining up. The world is watching, lining up to get grains 64 years after independence. We didn't see this during Buhari. We didn't see this during Jonathan. We didn't see this during Eradua or Obasanjo. So it is you. This is this thing on your neck, Mr. President. It is during your time that we are seeing this severe malnutrition in Nigeria. Okay. It is during your time that people lined up for rice and they died.
Yeah, Professor,
This is,
Professor
and I
Usman
don't see
Yusuf,
anybody taking responsibility.
Professor Usman Yusuf, it's been really tough on Nigerians. It's been quite a long time, and I'm sure we all, our heart and mind goes to the families of those who lost their loved ones in the stampede.